it's 5 o'clock. We'll have to get the old man to take a seat here, and then we can get started. All right, so welcome back to Missions Night. It's been forever since we've been up here, or in the back. Yep. So we got a short lesson, first of all, that way, especially since the teens are going here in a little bit. So thanks for coming. We're going to focus on two things tonight. The first is the May missionary emphasis, which is on the missionary healthcare plan. And then we're also going to focus on child sponsorship. So the child sponsorship Sunday was this past month. So we're just going to kind of roll those two subjects here together. And with that, we all good in the back?
Can't hear you,
Okay.
but just give me a finger pointing.
All right, I got you. All right, and we'll get started.
So May's emphasis is missionary healthcare, and the more money that comes in from missionary healthcare, the more money from World Evangelism Fund that can be used especially for evangelism. And the second reason is giving to World Evangelism Fund affects many aspects of the missions in Church of the Nazarene, and the Nazarene Missionary Insurance costs $1.9 million a year, and Nazarene Mission International has helped cover the money for missionaries because of the Church of Nazarene doesn't want the missionaries to worry about their trips costs. So Memorial Roll, Distinguished Service Award, Gifts from the Heart, and play offerings cover 23% of the cost. The World Evangelism Fund covers the other 77% of the cost.
All right, so if you guys have any questions about any of these, the Distinguished Service Awards are awards for persons in the church that are living. That's the big distinction between that and the Memorial Row. Also, there are plate offerings that could be used as well. There's a story, I take healthcare for granted. I will say that, as far as, Briley had a bike wreck a few years ago, or I get sick, you just walk in, here's my card, we go. As we were looking into some of this, there were some different missionary stories. One was in Uruguay. They have very good healthcare, but it has to be paid. So when they went in, the missionaries went in with their kids. They said, we don't know if she's going to live. She had a daughter that got into an accident, but at the same time, they're like, where's your money at? Where's your insurance? Luckily, she had insurance through this fund. They took her information. Kid got treated at the hospital. Here, you get treated, you get released, you go home, you worry about all the rest later. Before they'd let them leave the building, had to have everything paid in full. So she contacted the Nazarene Compassion Ministry account lady that deals with their account. Everything got paid in full. They got to leave. So kind of shows you the difference between living in Owensboro with insurance and being a missionary in the field. A lot of the times, if they do not get the funding, it is on their own to get it. So they might go to family and friends to try to generate the income to take care of their insurance needs. And that's everything from dental all the way through accidents like that we just talked about. I'm going to skip it on that. Move on to the next one. Okay.
Child Sponsorship Sunday was like a couple months ago, like you said, and they just, during the sponsorship program, they just want everybody to like reach out, and if you feel like led to, if you've ever felt led to sponsor a child, they wanted it to be like now, because there's a lot of kids around the world, like age 18 to 10, there's like a lot of widespread, and a lot of like the money for the sponsorship goes towards a lot of stuff that needs to be like needed for the child.
Yep. Do you want to go ahead and play the video?
Yeah.
All right.
I can play the video.
Play the video, sir. Or ma'am, it looks like.
I don't don't know about you guys, but I always look at those pictures and think, did they take off their shoes? Did they mess up their hair? Did they put dirt on their face just for this picture, just to get at my heart? And I'm telling you, that's not the case. And I just came home to my church and I just kept saying, that program really works. That program really works. You can see it in the lives of these kids. The first opportunity that I could get, I got on that plane and I went into that village, and it's really one of those moments that you just don't forget. You know, when I met him and he hugged me, and his grandmother just grabbed my arm, and just tears in her eyes, just pouring out how much it meant to not only Wendell, but to the family. That he had food, and that it was sending him to school, and that he had all the school supplies he needed through this sponsorship program. Most of the kids in this particular village that are not sponsored are not in school. And the reason they're not in school is because the parents in that village just can't afford it. Every time I've been there, you'll have parents bring their kids up to you and just say, please sponsor, sponsor, sponsor. They want to be sponsored. It impacts the kids, it impacts their families, and it impacts the whole community. And I asked them, I said, what do you guys want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? And before they were sponsored, these boys would have been saying, what is there to do? I can't really leave the village. I'm going to work with my dad in the field, or, you know, there's not much beyond this village. But when I asked them this the last trip, the one said to me, I want to be a teacher. And the next boy said that he wanted to work something to do with science, that he loves science. And then the little boy that I had been sponsoring, Wendell, said, real shyly, he was pretty quiet, but he said, I want to be a pastor. So at that moment, I just remember saying, I am one proud sponsor mom right now. We can get packets of information to all of these churches of kids that are available through Compassionate Ministries, and get those into your church and stand up, talk about sponsorship program, talk about my story, talk about maybe the children you're personally sponsoring, and tell your neighbors, advocate for these kids, and just get up there and share from the heart what this means to these kids. And if just 5 or 6 people in a church decide to sponsor children, that's 5 or 6 more kids that are receiving all that compassion and love, and want them to learn about the love of Jesus.
So I think all you guys know that you can go to the web here in ncm.org/sponsorship, and these two, like I think this was last weekend, they'll have highlighted certain kids on the website there, and you can look through there. You can select what you want. You can select, or you can just automatically done. That's what we did through the dimes that we sponsor through our church. We didn't go select a particular kid. We just said we wanted to sponsor one, and then they assigned one to us. So it means a lot. It means a lot to me personally. I think it means a lot to our church as far as having an impact on the kids' life. Just to see, especially during the COVID period, as hard as it was on us, it was a lot harder on these kids. There's about 2 billion kids, I believe is what it said there, and half of them are in poverty. 1 in 6 kids in the world works basically child labor, right? So anything we can do to change that. There's other organizations out there as well. So anything that you can do as far as sponsoring a child and changing that for the better is just that much more impact to them for sure. Do what now? We have 3. Yeah, 3 that we have sponsored now through the dimes that have been going through. So yes. So there is, to what Julia's getting at, is we have rotated through 4 kids. There is a set of rules that their family must follow for them to stay inside the program. And one of the 3 that we started with got replaced. So what they do is they just go ahead and reassign you another kid that is waiting to be sponsored, that's willing to obey the rules, just like anything else in life and their family. That's where we have 4 names. We've kept the 4th name there on our board for prayer, but we do sponsor the 3 kids. We have 1 in Mozambique, 1 in South Africa, and then 1 in the Ukraine. That's right. Yeah. That's correct. And I know there's other people in the church that are sponsoring kids as well. Yeah.
The More Than Dimes program, the dimes that you bring in and put in the jars are so much more than loose change, and the sponsoring a child includes education, life skills, and spiritual nurturing, and it shows the kids that they matter and that Jesus loves them, and that it helps the children gain opportunity for a better life, like the jobs, like the person in the video is talking about. It helps them reach for more higher goals.
Yep. There were several videos on kids. We don't have any of them attached here, but one interesting one to me was a young man, looked to be 8 to 9 years old, and they were following him with his mom. His mom got injured. That's the only family he has. The sponsorship program stepped in addition to the normal sponsorship. I guess what they give him through this program, took care of his family until she could be healed. And then he gave his heart to the Lord through all this, where he saw the church taking care of his mom. And then, so Monday through Friday, he goes to school. They provide him uniforms, and he's able to have a meal every evening that he didn't have before. On the weekends, he goes to the community center. They provide 2 meals for him on Saturday and on Sunday. And, they learned about different church activities. They had crafts. And then he started playing soccer. And at the end of it, he was basically saying, this has impacted my life in X way, right? And just to hear the kid, he's like, I want to grow up and be a policeman so I can be friends with the homeless people and get the bandits out of my town. And, he just had these big dreams. And he was talking about, I used to say bad words, and now I don't say bad words anymore and everything. So it's just a huge impact to these kids' lives when you go and look at that. And, we're sitting in our air-conditioned big church here, and to see what they do for us through those programs. The Nazarene Church is just amazing through the missions field.
I said this earlier, but if you do feel led to sponsor a child, you can go to ncm.org/sponsor, and it has like the kids' pictures and like their names and their ages and their countries. But if you don't have a preference, there's one at the bottom that you can click, and it will just put your name and stuff in for just any child that needs to be sponsored, and it costs $30 a month. And we are sponsoring the 3 kids that we talked about earlier through More Than Dimes.
Yep. And for the more experienced folks, there are packets left on the back there in the middle, and you can fill that card out if you feel so led to sponsor. But also an option on there is just a one-time gift. So if you're thinking this thing, hey, I'll give them $5, $10, you can fill this out and just do the one-time gift that goes to that same sponsorship fund that does things for like when the young man's mom got hurt. So they'll do different things with them as well. With that, did the mic down? Okay. All right.
And now we're going to play Kahoot over all the stuff that we built.
So if you got Kahoot on your phone or your smart device, Dad, get your Kahoot out there. Get started on that. How many questions? Okay. All right. We'll give you a little time. There's going to be eight questions. 8 questions. Everybody in? Good to go? Alright, ready to go? Alright, go ahead and start, Aaron. Change there. Passed on that one.
Yeah, because it has that.
Okay. Uh-oh. The parents took the lead. They're on fire. It fell for it, didn't it? Good job, everybody get the chance. Good job, everybody. You can make it, brother, all right. Uh-oh, Corey's on the board. We're good, man. There we go. All right. So that about wraps it up for tonight. Again, May's emphasis was the missionary healthcare, which we tried to make as fun as possible with the Kahoot. So we'll keep going with the Kahoots there. Also, the children's sponsorship. Always keep that in mind. Keep bringing in the dimes. We appreciate what everybody has done, and it's just amazing what the dimes we just throw in 2-liter bottles and little plastic bottles over there, how much of an impact that is. We have one more video, and this is for next month's missionary focus. And Aaron, if you would, play the short video there. Thank you, sir.
What is it inside of us that drives us to overcome? Throughout time, humans have been drawn towards overcoming obstacles. Some large, some small. Through struggles, through tragedies, through great achievements. We seem to be compelled to make a difference. And making a difference leads to a greater good. So what does that mean for us as the church? There are many barriers that prevent us from reaching people with the love of God. Help us reach beyond these barriers.
A little sneak peek to the World Mission broadcast for next month. And with that, I'll say prayer for closing. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening. Thank you for just a beautiful day, the service this morning, all the souls that are here tonight. We ask that you be with each of us this week. Help protect our minds and our hearts. Help us to remember those that are less fortunate, whether it's prayers or dimes for the child sponsorship, or just a few dollars in our pocket that we leave for the missionary health cares. Be with all the missionaries out in the field, both abroad and here at home. In your name, amen. That's it. Johnny, do you want all the teens to stay? That's, all right, man. Offering plate is in the back, in the middle, right under by the music people back there if you want to drop off anything. And there's also the pamphlets for child